Chapter 7, Viewing Sentient Beings. At this point, Manjushri asked Vimalakirti, how should the Bodhisattva view sentient beings? Vimalakirti said, 1. As if he were a magician seeing a conjured person, so should a Bodhisattva view sentient beings. 2. Like a wise person seeing the moon in water. 3. Seeing the image of a face in a mirror. 4. Like a mirage when it is hot. 5. Like the echo of a shout. 6. Like clouds in the sky. 7. Like water collecting into foam. 8. Like bubbles upon water. 9. Like the firmness of the banana tree. 10. Like the prolonged abiding of lightning. 11. Like a fifth element. 12. Like a sixth skandha. 13. Like a seventh sense. 14. Like a 13th entrance or ayatana. 15. Like a 19th realm or dhatu. So should a bodhisattva view sentient beings. 16. Like form in the formless realm. 17. Like a seedling emerging from burned grain. 18. Like a stream enterer's mistaken view of the body. 19. Like a non-returner's entrance into a womb. 20. Like an arhat's 3 poisons. 21. Like a bodhisattva who has achieved forbearance, breaking the prohibition against anger. 22. Like a Buddha's latent influences of the afflictions. 23. Like a blind man seeing forms. 24. Like the inhalation and exhalation of someone who has entered the concentration of extinction. 25. Like the tracks of birds in the sky, like the child of a barren woman. 26. Like a conjured person generating the afflictions, like waking up in a dream. 27. Like one who has entered nirvana being reborn, like fire without smoke. So should a bodhisattva view sentient beings. Manjushri said, if a bodhisattva views sentient beings in this fashion, how should he practice sympathy? Vimalakirti said, the bodhisattva who views sentient beings in this fashion should think to himself, I should explain the Dharma for sentient beings in this fashion, and this will constitute true sympathy. I should practice the sympathy of extinction, because of the absence of anything generated. I should practice the sympathy of no heat, because of the absence of the afflictions. I should practice the sympathy of sameness, because of the sameness of the 3 periods of time. I should practice the sympathy of non-disputation, because of the absence of generation. I should practice the sympathy of non-duality, because of the non-conjunction of interior and exterior. I should practice the sympathy of non-destruction, because of the ultimate exhaustion of the characteristics of sympathy. I should practice the sympathy of resoluteness, because of indestructibility. Practice the sympathy of purity, because of the essential purity of the dharmas. I should practice the sympathy of no extremes, because of its being like space. Practice the sympathy of an arhat, because of the destruction of the bandits of the fetters. I should practice the sympathy of a bodhisattva, because of the pacification of sentient beings. Practice the sympathy of a tathagata, because of attainment of the characteristic of thusness. I should practice the sympathy of a Buddha, because of the enlightenment of sentient beings. Practice the sympathy of the naturally accomplished sage, because of the imperceptibility of causes. I should practice the sympathy of Bodhi because of the sameness of the single taste. I should practice the sympathy of inequivalence because of the eradication of the affections. I should practice the sympathy of great compassion because of guiding sentient beings by means of the Mahayana. I should practice the sympathy of non-revulsion because of the contemplation of emptiness and no self. I should practice the sympathy of the charity of Dharma because of the absence of regrets. I should practice the sympathy of morality because of converting the transgressors. Practice the sympathy of forbearance because of protecting others and self. I should practice the sympathy of exertion because of carrying the burden for sentient beings. I should practice the sympathy of concentration because of not experiencing the flavors of desire. I should practice the sympathy of wisdom because of the absence of any time of non-understanding. I should practice the sympathy of skillful means because of the manifestation of all teaching methods. I should practice the sympathy of non-hiding because of the purity of sincerity. I should practice the sympathy of the profound mind because of the absence of heterogeneous practices. I should practice the sympathy of the non-crazed because of not using false conventions. I should practice the sympathy of peace and joy because of causing beings to attain the joy of Buddhahood. Thus is the sympathy of the Bodhisattva. Manjushri asked further, "What is compassion?" Vimalakirti answered, "The merits achieved by the Bodhisattvas are entirely shared with all sentient beings." Question: What is joy? Answer: If there is benefit, then one rejoices without regret. Question: What is forsaking? Answer: The blessings generated are without expectation. Manjushri also asked, "For the Bodhisattva who fears samsara, what should be his reliance?" Vimalakirti said, "A Bodhisattva who fears samsara should rely on the power of the Tathagata's merit." Manjushri also asked, "The Bodhisattva who wishes to rely on the power of the Tathagata's merit, in what should he abide?" Answer: The Bodhisattva who wishes to rely on the power of the Tathagata's merit should abide in saving all sentient beings. Manjushri also asked, "If one wishes to save sentient beings, what should be eradicated?" Answer: If one wishes to save sentient beings, the afflictions should be eradicated. Manjushri also asked, "If one wishes to eradicate the afflictions, what should one practice?" Answer: One should practice correct mindfulness. Manjushri also asked, "How does one practice correct mindfulness?" Answer: One should practice non-generation and non-extinction. Manjushri also asked, "What dharmas are non-generated and what dharmas are not extinguished?" Answer: The not good are to be non-generated, and the good dharmas are to be non-extinguished. Manjushri also asked, "What is the fundamental basis of good and bad dharmas?" Answer: The body is their fundamental basis. Manjushri also asked, "What is the fundamental basis of the body?" Answer: Desire is its fundamental basis. Manjushri also asked, "What is the fundamental basis of desire?" Answer: False discrimination is its fundamental basis. Manjushri also asked, "What is the fundamental basis of false discrimination?" Answer: Confused conception is its fundamental basis. Manjushri also asked, "What is the fundamental basis of confused conception?" Answer: The non-abiding is its fundamental basis. Manjushri also asked, what is the fundamental basis of non-abiding? Answer, non-abiding is without any fundamental basis. Manjushri, all dharmas are established on the fundamental basis of non-abiding. At the time, there was a goddess in Vimalakirti's room who, upon seeing the great men listening to the Dharma being explained, made herself visible and scattered heavenly flowers over the bodhisattvas and great disciples. When the flowers reached the bodhisattvas, they all immediately fell off, but when they reached the great disciples, they adhered and did not fall off. Even using all their numinous powers, the disciples were unable to remove the flowers. At that time, the goddess asked Sariputra, why would you remove the flowers? Sariputra answered, these flowers are contrary to the Dharma, so I would remove them. The goddess said, do not say that these flowers are contrary to the Dharma. Why, these flowers are without discrimination. Sir, it is you who are generating discriminative thoughts. If one who has left home in the Buddha Dharma has discrimination, this is contrary to the Dharma. If such a one is without discrimination, this is in accord with the Dharma. Look at the bodhisattvas, to whom the flowers do not adhere. This is because they have eradicated all discriminative thoughts. For example, when a person is afraid, non-human beings are able to control him. Thus, since the disciples fear samsara, then forms, sounds, smells, tastes, and tangibles control you. None of the 5 desires can affect those who have transcended fear. It is only because the latent influences of your afflictions are not yet exhausted that the flowers stick to your bodies. For those in whom the latent influences are exhausted, the flowers do not stick. Sariputra said, have you stayed in this room long? Answer, I have stayed in this room as long as you have been emancipated. Sariputra said, how long have you stayed here? The goddess said, how long has it been since your emancipation? Sariputra was silent and did not answer. The goddess said, what is your great wisdom that you remain silent? Answer, emancipation is not to be spoken of, and so I did not know what to say. The goddess said, speech and words are entirely the characteristics of emancipation. Why? Emancipation is neither internal nor external, nor intermediate. Words are also neither internal nor external, nor intermediate. Therefore, Sariputra, the explanation of emancipation does not transcend words. Why? All dharmas have the characteristic of emancipation. Sariputra said, is it not also that emancipation is the transcendence of licentiousness, anger, and stupidity? The goddess said, on behalf of the self-conceited, the Buddha explained that emancipation is the transcendence of licentiousness, anger, and stupidity. If one is not self-conceited, the Buddha explains that licentiousness, anger, and stupidity are emancipation. Sariputra said, excellent, excellent. O goddess, what attainment you have, and through what realization do you have eloquence such as this? The goddess said, it is because I am without attainment and without realization that my eloquence is like this. Why? If one had attainment and realization, this would be to be self-conceited with regard to the Buddha Dharma. Sariputra asked the goddess, which of the 3 vehicles do you seek? The goddess said, since I convert sentient beings with the Shravaka Dharma, I am a Shravaka. Since I convert sentient beings with the Dharma of causality, I am a Pratyeka Buddha. Since I convert sentient beings with the Dharma of great compassion, I am a Mahayanist. Sariputra, just as a person who has entered a Kampaka forest can smell only Kampaka and no other smells, thus it is if you enter this room. You can smell only the fragrance of the Buddha's merit, and do not delight in smelling the fragrance of the merit of Sravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. Sariputra, those Indras, Brahmas, 4 heavenly kings, and the gods, dragons, and spirits who enter this room all hear this superior one, that is Vimalakirti, explain the correct Dharma, and they all leave delighting only in the fragrance of the Buddha's merit and generating the intention to achieve Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Sariputra, I have stayed in this room 12 years. From the beginning, I have not heard the Dharma of Sravaka and Pratyeka Buddha. I have only heard the Buddha's inconceivable Dharma of the Bodhisattva's great sympathy and great compassion. Sariputra, this room constantly manifests 8 unprecedentedly rare dharmas. What are these 8? This room is always illuminated with golden light, with no variation day or night. It is not bright due to the illumination of sun and moon. This is the first unprecedentedly rare dharma. Those who enter this room are not afflicted by the defilements. This is the second unprecedentedly rare dharma. This room always has Indras, Brahmas, the 4 heavenly kings, and bodhisattvas from other regions who arrive and gather without interruption. This is the third unprecedentedly rare dharma. In this room, there is constant explanation of the 6 perfections and the non-retrogressive dharma. This is the 4th unprecedentedly rare dharma. This room always produces the God's supreme string music, which generates the sound of the teaching of the immeasurable Dharma. This is the 5th unprecedentedly rare Dharma. This room has 4 great storehouses filled with the many jewels, which are given to the destitute and used to save the poor without limit. This is the 6th unprecedentedly rare Dharma. To this room, Sakyamuni Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Aksobhaya Buddha, Jewel Virtue Buddha, Jewel Mirage Buddha, Jewel Moon Buddha, Jewel Ornament Buddha, Difficult to Overcome Buddha, Lion's Echo Buddha, and Achievement of All Benefits Buddha, and the immeasurable Buddhas of the 10 directions, such as these, all come when the Superior One is mindful of them. And they extensively explain to him the Buddha's secret Dharma storehouse, and, having explained it, then return to their own worlds. This is the 7th unprecedentedly rare Dharma. In this room appear all the ornamented palaces of the gods and the pure lands of the Buddhas. This is the 8th unprecedentedly rare Dharma. Sariputra, this room always manifests the 8 unprecedentedly rare dharmas. Who could see these inconceivable things and still take pleasure in the Sravaka Dharma? Sariputra said, Why do you not transform your female body? The goddess said, For the past 12 years I have sought the characteristic of being female and have comprehended it to be unattainable, that is, imperceptible. Why should I transform it? It is as if a magician has created a conjured female. If someone asked her, Why do you not transform your female body? Would that person's question be proper or not? Sariputra said, It would not. An indeterminate characteristic that has been conjured, why should it be transformed? The goddess said, All dharmas are also like this, in being without determinate characteristics. So why do you ask, Why do you not transform your female body? Then the goddess used the power of numinous penetration and changed Sariputra's body to be like that of a goddess. And she transformed her own body to be like Sariputra. Then she asked, Why do you not transform this female body? Sariputra, in the goddess's form, answered, I do not know how you transformed me now into this female body. The goddess said, Sariputra, if you were able to transform this female body, then all females would also be able to transform themselves. Just as Sariputra is not female, but is manifesting a female body, so are all females likewise. Although they manifest female bodies, they are not female. Therefore, the Buddha has explained that all dharmas are neither male nor female. At this point, the goddess withdrew her numinous power, and Sariputra's body returned to as it was before. The goddess asked Sariputra, "Now, where does the characteristic of form of the female body occur?" Sariputra said, "The characteristic of form of the female body is without occurrence, and without non-occurrence." The goddess said, "All the dharmas are also likewise in being without occurrence and without non-occurrence. This without occurrence and without non-occurrence is as the Buddhists have explained." Sariputra asked the goddess, "When you die here, where will you be reborn?" The goddess said, "Wherever the Buddha's activity of conversion is born, that is, generated, likewise will I be born." Sariputra said, "Where the Buddha's activity of conversion is generated is not a place of death and birth." The goddess said, "Sentient beings are likewise without death and birth." Sariputra asked the goddess, "How long will it be until you attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi?" The goddess said, "When you are reborn as an unenlightened ordinary person, I will achieve Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi." Sariputra said, "For me to be an ordinary person, this will never happen." The goddess said, "My attaining of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, this too will never happen. Why? Bodhi is without any locus of abiding. Therefore, there is no one who attains it." Sariputra said, "The Buddhas who attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, including those who have attained it and those who will attain it, are as numerous as the sands of the Ganges River. What about all of them?" The goddess said, "It is entirely through conventional words and numbers that one talks of the existence of the three periods of time. It is not that there is past, future, and present in Bodhi." The goddess said, "Sariputra, have you attained arhatship?" Sariputra said, "There is no attainment, and so I have attained it." The goddess said, "The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are also like this. There is no attainment, and so they have attained Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi." At this time, Vimalakirti said to Sariputra, "The goddess has already served 92 kotis of Buddhas. She is able to disport in the numinous penetrations of the Bodhisattva. Her vows are complete, and she has attained forbearance of the non-arising of dharmas, and she abides in non-retrogression. By virtue of her original vows, she is able to manifest the teaching of sentient beings as she wishes."